to Unwrapping the Gift of Grief, a podcast that invites you to embark on a powerful journey of healing and resilience. I'm Crystal, your host, a grief coach and author, joined by my compassionate co host, Evangelist Tasha. We're here to guide you through the transformative landscape of grief, where authentic narratives and profound insights will inspire you to find strength and wisdom within life's most profound challenges. Get ready to unwrap the invaluable treasures hidden within as we journey together towards understanding and healing.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Unwrapping the Gift of Grief. I'm Crystal, your host for tonight. My co host Tasha is still on vacation. We're celebrating her birthday this week, so if everybody can send birthday wishes her way. Tonight we have something truly special for you. We're we're gonna be diving deep tonight, y'all. We're going to discuss grief unveiled, navigating love, and new beginnings. And we have an awesome guest, Arthur Unique Washington. She's going to blow your mind. So tonight, we're not just going to scratch the surface. We're going to peel back layers of the grief, exploring how it intertwines with our lives, our love, and fresh starts. So grab your drink of choice, get comfortable, and let's embark on a heart to heart conversation. Mind you, this conversation just might change your mind on how you think about grief and how you begin to process it. So, are you ready? Stay tuned. You're in for a ride. Welcome to the eighth, no, the ninth episode of Unwrapping the Gift of Grief. Coming to the podcast is Unique.
Woohoo!
Hey,
Hi,
girl. Hey,
everybody.
girl.
Hey, how are you?
Hi. All is well. All is well. First of all, I just want to thank you for coming on and being a guest on Unwrapping the Gift of Grief tonight. I appreciate you.
Anytime, anytime. I'm honored to be here, actually.
That's good. I see a few comments in here. People in here tonight. All right, y'all. Hey, Kyla. Hey, Lashonda. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. So we're going to let Unique tell us a little bit about herself. I already said that she's an author. So she's going to fill us in on who she is, where she's from, and so on. Whatever she's comfortable with, you have the floor, Unique.
Sure, Crystal. Thank you so much. Whoa, I did write out a bio, but I'm gonna try to go from my head here. I'm a single mother of two boys. Um, I have two boys and a granddaughter who's 7 years old. I was brought up on the west side of Chicago, and now I'm on the south side of Chicago. And I'm basically on a journey of discovery and goal seeking. I do some content creating. Like Crystal said, I'm an author. I wrote my first book in 2021, even though I've been writing forever. um, I embarked on a journey of real estate because I realized that real estate has been all around me. I love every aspect of it. So I have a three-story. So I'm currently a baby landlord. I call it baby landlord. That's one of
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm also an IT specialist, and I am a coach of a map system that I created to help people reach their goals and go further. Me and my co-host, Shatrivia Kennedy, we were working together on a few projects actually. So that's pretty much it that I know
Okay.
of. I'm also a classmate to Miss Crystal, which is the host
College,
today.
college, go Cobra.
Yes, yes, Collins High School, CHS.
Absolutely. I thank you so much. You did send a bio, but I feel like people can't tell who they are
Yes,
the way you can tell who you are. So
exactly, exactly.
thank you for obliging me in that. So we're gonna kick it off. We always start with something a little fun. I held your
Uh-oh.
icebreaker back because
I'm
I wanted
nervous.
it to be a surprise.
Okay.
So tonight icebreaker is, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, wow.
And here's the part. Here's the kicker. You have to sing two lines from your karaoke
No.
song.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's a good one. You got me on that one. First of all, can I be honest and admit that I've never been to a karaoke bar or anything?
Are you serious?
I'm so serious. And the
Are
song
you
that I want to
serious?
sing, I am so serious, but I know there is shower songs that I love. But it's a lot of them. I don't know.
So if you had to pick one, what would that be?
You're kicking in my shyness right now. I like India Ari. Um, um, it's a
Now,
song.
mind you, you have to sing two lines.
No, it's a song she made to Stevie Wonder. I'm trying to remember the song. Wonderful. It's called Wonderful. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Krista, you
Mm-hmm.
focused for this? Hold on, let me see. You're a
Mm-hmm.
singer, first off. Let's start there. I was in the band, okay? No vocals this way. But let me see. She said, "You are the sunshine of my life. You are the Shakespeare of our time. You send me to a higher ground. You know, you
Yes,
knock me off my feet. You gotta listen to that. That's a wonderful.
that's
That
one of my
song gives me
favorite
power.
songs.
Is it? You know about
That's one of my favorite.
the song, girl?
Yes,
You
that's one of
should
my favorite songs
you
by
should
India
re-sing
Ari.
it. You should re-sing it and vindicate me real quick.
Ain't that something? Ain't that something?
Yeah, that's the best I
So
could do. I was shaky.
it's okay. It's okay. So when I go to karaoke, I have to do Jill Scott
Oh yes,
open mic
I love
night.
Jill Scott. Which one? Which
I
song?
have to do now why do I have a blank?
I
Um
know, like me a minute ago.
the name of Jill Scott. You love me. It's
Oh, it's
special. Different.
yes,
Every time you keep me on
yes.
my
Woohoo!
feet.
Yes. See, I'm your
That's
backup
my
dancer.
karaoke.
I'm your backup dancer. Okay.
No, you're
I
gonna
love.
play that instrument. You're
Yes,
gonna play
that
that
part. Yes.
instrument, baby.
Yes. Yes.
So that was fun. That was fun. And it's crazy that you've never been to
Never
karaoke.
been.
So I'm gonna
Mm-mm,
have to
just
host karaoke night, and I'm gonna have to invite you, and you're gonna be the first one to sing.
okay. I'll bring my
Simple.
vocals then. I'll bring them then. Okay. I'll be ready.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're gonna kick off the show. We're gonna go ahead and start dive into our conversation tonight. And as I said before, the conversation is about unveiling grief,
Mm,
relationships, and love and new beginnings.
okay.
So tell us, where does your grief journey begin?
Ooh. Oh, excuse me. So my mom passed away December 9th of 2011. And up until she passed away, I thought I knew or had an idea what grief was. And I thought, oh, even though this is the matriarch, I've been through this several times before and the wind was knocked out of me pretty much.
Hmm.
So I would say December 9th, 2011 was when I discovered grief and what it really was.
And so after that, what was your definition of grief after you lost your mom?
So I define grief as basically the reaction or response or the process um, after losing someone or something, because it can be a thing as well, um, and just the whole journey involving that was my definition.
Now, with losing your mom, um, what's the greatest impact you think that has had on your life?
Whoa, you know what? It changed the whole stigma that my mom had for me that ended up being a stigma I put on myself from my mom of doing everything and taking care of everything, if that makes sense.
Hmm. That makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, carrying everything and everyone. And when she passed, um, all of that changed. My entire life changed from that point. And I started like a self-care journey of learning me for the first time ever because I was their doctor, their lawyer, their preacher, their teacher, my mom and my siblings. So it was like, okay, everything I wanted to work hard for is now deceased. You know, we have a subconscious journey in our mind to please our parents. So for me, I was like, what am I gonna get a house for now?
Hmm.
She wanted to live in the basement, of that house. Well, what do I do now? I was like stuck for a minute. Like, what do I
Hmm.
do now? Everything I ever fought for is now deceased. So that was the gut wrenching part
Oh
for me.
my.
It
I
became
talk
lonely.
about. I, I definitely understand that because I too have lost my mom.
Yeah.
Um, but I talk about how I've learned and I've accepted that grief gave me freedom because as you just said that you were taking care of and doing everything for
Yeah.
them. I
Yes.
too did everything for my mom, my grandmother, and my great grandmother.
Wow.
So when they died, it was
Hmm.
like, woo. And I didn't realize that I was pouring so much into other people
Ooh.
that I wasn't doing anything for me.
Yes. Yes,
So
ma'am.
yes, definitely.
Yes.
The big impact was it gave me freedom and I realized it. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. That's my gift of grief.
Yeah. That's
So
refreshing to hear that, I'm not alone in that sense. That's so
no,
refreshing to hear.
no, you're not. So many people realize that after the fact
Yeah.
because we grow up. I think we were raised in
Yep.
coming up in our time. We were raised to take care of our elders, our mom, our
Yep.
grandmother. We were raised,
Yep.
and like now, it's like our children. We're not raising our children like that. We're raising. You're gonna be responsible. You
Exactly.
have your own family. You do what you need to do for yours. Don't worry about me. I
Yep.
live my life.
Yep.
But back then, they wasn't. I raised you. You supposed to take care of me.
Yep.
So
I
it's
still
totally
hear that in
different.
some places.
The-
Yeah.
it's totally different.
Yeah.
Now, um, how do you deal with the various emotions that overtake you with grief, if any? Now,
Oh, good point. So it depends, right? So it's so funny that we're talking today is the 20th. My birthday and my mother's birthday was September 16th. So usually on our birthday and December 9th, there's these emotions that creep up, right? I had a friend that
Mhm.
told me once, she said, be careful around the death anniversaries and even the birthdays. I'm like, what are you talking about? She was like, just be careful around your parents' death anniversaries and so forth, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what is she talking about? She was like, I had out of body experiences around those times. And I'm like, she's talking crazy. Well, lo and behold, every 16th of September in that area, in that realm, and every December the 9th, something would trigger me. And then I would notice almost like the next day I wouldn't remember what happened. I would lash out on someone or something would happen. And when I finally started paying more attention, I was like, okay, okay, stop. Something I gotta, for one, be conscious that this is happening. And then for two,
Mhm.
what is going to be my coping mechanism. So every birthday, I try to do things that me and my mother would have loved because we had similar tastes. We both love tacos. We both love Ronnie Steakhouse. So we both have the same favorite restaurant, El Milagro. So I always make it like my my journey to go to El Milagro and some kind of steakhouse that reminded me, Ronnie's is gone now, but
Okay.
some kind of steakhouse. She also liked to go to the boat. So I would go there and literally purposefully grieve, have these moments
Okay.
where I think of her and I kind of want to get ahead of it, because if it catches me subconsciously, it's almost like it's already too late. So I kind of go in the season. It's always the season for me, twice a year, where I get ahead of it and I'll do things like
Yes,
talk to my mom, and anything to invoke her spirit, to kind of like
absolutely.
commune with her, if that makes sense.
That's very good.
Yeah.
That's very good because a lot of people shy away from
Yes.
those days,
Woohoo! I can't wait to
But
talk about that. Yes.
I
Yes.
know
Yes.
for myself, like my birthday and holidays are difficult for me.
Really.
Um,
Yeah.
Leading up to my mother's birthday, like for the last few years, I've always done something to honor her.
Yeah.
And that what the third year I honored her by publishing my first book, a
Okay.
guided grief journal for brown girls. Now,
Okay.
this year I honored her and my grandmother by releasing Embracing the Empty Chair, a 31-day
I
grief
love it.
journal.
I love it. I
So
love
I
it.
try to pour my emotions into something
Yeah.
so that it won't hit me so heavy.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, like I said, my birthday
Yeah.
is always hard, especially the milestones. Because when I lost my mother, I was 39. Tipping over
Right.
to my 40th birthday, we had plans, and she
Hmm.
wasn't here for those plans. When I woke up that morning, I was a wreck. I
I
had the
bet.
worst headache. And tipping over into my 45th birthday this year, I'm seeing the signals.
Right.
I feel the emotions coming on. Like
Right.
I'm big on my birthday. I always celebrate my birthday. This year, I don't want to do nothing. Not only that,
Yeah.
I lost my grandmother on October the 1st. My birthday is on October the 30th. I lost my
Oh,
best
wow.
friend the beginning of November. Last day I
Right.
talked to her was on my birthday. So the month of October, I'm not looking forward to that.
Exactly. I get it.
But
I get it.
but I am going to start trying to start putting myself in a position to be prepared for it. And if
Right.
that means prepare to shut down, I'm going to
Yep.
prepare to shut down.
Yes. Yes.
So definitely, I understand where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
You have anything else to say on that
Yeah.
question? Go
I do,
ahead. Go
because
ahead.
something funny that always happened. It's a tradition every birthday. So I had this really
Go ahead.
bad habit. I actually did grief counseling when my mom passed away, and that's what helped
Okay.
segue a lot of understanding grief. And I also learned how to let go the hard way. And they taught me kind of like how to do these grief practices. And one of the things I adopted was I would go to the cemetery. It would always be before our birthday or the day of our birthday. And every time I go to the cemetery, I would either get locked in.
What?
Yes, I would either get locked in, or like what happened recently was it was getting dark, so I just left out because I can't ever find my mom, right? So this time I realized what happened. I came in the cemetery the backwards way, because Forest Home has two parts to it. It has a bridge
Okay.
that gets to the other side. Where if you come in the wrong entrance, you're on the back side looking aimlessly for the grave, and it's like I have a landmark, but I don't know where it is if I come in the wrong way. So when I finally discovered it, it was already dark. And but there's a ritual I do. I always, as it's getting dark or late, I'll be like, "Where's my mommy?" Like a little girl. Where's my mommy? God, can you help me find my mommy? And it's just so funny. I'll start crying, like start laughing,
Wow.
crying like these funny little tears, like here you go again. And I could hear my mom laughing at me. Not like ridiculing me, but but like here you go again. So I
Wow.
think that even though that's the funniest ritual ever, I think that's gonna
Wow.
be every year. And even if I
Are you
do find out
serious?
where she is, it's like it's part of the moment for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the fact that you can laugh about it and bask
Yeah.
in that moment, that's gonna probably be a tradition for you. I'm going to go to the cemetery and I'm gonna get lost.
I be calling my
Hey.
brother like I can't find our mommy. He be laughing at he's like, cause she in the sky, girl. Like, no, she's
Wow.
here. I need to find her. It's like I
Wow.
become this little girl. Like, it's so cute and funny as ever. It is so cute and
Wow.
funny as ever. But it's like
Wow,
one of
that
my
is so
coping.
interesting. That's one of your
Yeah.
coping mechanisms. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. That is interesting. Now let me ask you this. Have you encountered any common misunderstandings or um misconceptions when it comes to grief?
Yeah. Sorry, that's my cat in the background.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm gonna text my son and get him. Yes, I did. This one is kind of hard because a lot of people around me couldn't quite get grasp. Um, I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Couldn't grasp what grief is. I think everyone, not everyone, but most people um that haven't lost their mom thinks of
Mm.
grief in a negative sense. And
Mhm.
also they kind of want to shush you up without realizing they are.
It's
So,
true.
like, I have a tendency, I speak out a lot, especially on Facebook around that time. That's part of my process. Man, this time, if you were alive this time of year, we would be doing something. I make a lot of posts like that, or I'll vent purposefully to say how I feel. And a lot of people think, oh, she's not doing good. Like it's negative. And I try to explain to a lot of people, especially close friends, you actually have to
Mhm.
grieve. You have to vent some sort of
You have to.
process of losing that person. There's no such thing as sweeping it under the rug. It will come out. And that's to be honest with you, that's an ongoing journey to educate a lot of people about how grief really works because they're thinking it's for one, they think it's negative. They think it's when
Mhm.
you're crying, all it is crying, crying, crying. And they'll say anything to comfort you so you don't what cry,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
not
Yes. Yes.
knowing that's part of the process, or they'll say just they'll say something that they don't realize is kind of sensitive and shrewd at the same time, kind of harsh. They'll say, well, people die or something like that. And I'm like, you haven't. I literally had to get snappy with some recently who was like, said something about what she wants you to feel like this or what have you. And this is a person who didn't even know me or my mother at the time, of course. So I was like, have you ever lost
Mm.
your mom? Have you ever lost your dad? And he was like, no, and no, but no, no, no. I'm gonna stop you right there. But my foot, you cannot relate to me at this point. And I hate to say it like that, but that's the honesty. When you lose mother, matriarch, all of that,
Yes.
especially if she was like the only elder left in your world, it's like that's woo, you're talking about knocking the
It's
wind
rough.
out of you. Like I don't care
It's
how
rough.
old you are, it gets real.
It
It's
definitely
like
gets real.
yeah,
And I don't think people realize like the bond I may have with my cousin is definitely not the bond I have with my mother. This is
right,
the lady that birthed me. This is the
right,
lady I go to for everything. And
yes,
to realize that I no longer have her,
hmm,
like that is something. And I don't know
yeah,
what that feeling is. I try to explain the feeling, like I tried to explain the headache, or like when it first happened, the headache
yeah,
or the stomach punching or the chest pain. I
yep.
tried to explain that, but it's unexplainable.
That
It's
void
definitely yes,
is
absolutely, it's
everlasting.
definitely
Yep.
unexplainable. So
And I want
I get where you come from. Go ahead.
to add that this upset a few of my family members also. There's nothing like the mother's death. It's just nothing like it. Like my father, I realized the hard way through when my mother passed away. I finally decided to grieve him, and he died the same year that 9/11 happened, 11 days after 9/11. So he died several years before she passed, but it was a whole different dynamic. Like you said, this was your caregiver. I mean, the the adjectives are endless when it comes to mother, and then especially if you were close to mom.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, you talking about your best friend is gone. I thank God that she had all her flowers. I always felt like I didn't get that house, but as the grief counselor helping me to see whatever she sees, you know, post death, she will be proud. And also the grief therapist helped me to see that her seeing what I was actually dealing with, she probably wouldn't have expected so much of me because I'm not even the oldest of my family members.
Mm.
I'm actually the third. But in her eyes, it was you have God, so
But
you take care of them. Like really?
so
They
it's
grown,
interesting that you
overgrown.
it's interesting that you say that because I'm the third child as well. I have two
What?
older siblings.
What?
Yes.
We like
Let me tell you
twins
something.
right now,
Let me tell you something. It's so bad. People don't even really know I got brothers. They be like, I thought you was the older child.
I didn't know.
I thought you was. And see, look. We went to high school together. You don't even
Right.
know.
Right.
I thought you was the only
Wow.
grandchild. No, I have three other siblings, and I have two that's older
Wow.
than me. So yes, they do
Wow.
expect you. They pick the one that they feel that is
They
the responsible
do.
one,
Woo.
the wise one to take care of them.
Yep.
They do. They do. But I want to chime in on something that Trina just said. Trina said, I believe that wholeheartedly. Same thing with sickness. If you haven't walked it, please don't speak on it. Absolutely, Trina. I definitely believe that. Having sick parents and being caregivers
Oh, yes,
is
that
a whole
part.
different ball game, baby.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
not only do you have to, you're taking away from your household, you're taking away from your life and your livelihood, because you have to pretty much put your life and your dreams and your goals and whatever vacation that you want to do, you have to put that on pause. And
You
you have
do.
to take care of somebody. And that in itself, it can be emotionally challenging. It can be damaging to your health.
Yes. I had to do all that.
And
You're right.
if you let it, but here's the thing, right? Some people let it build up resentment. But I
Yeah.
found out that if you do it with a pure heart,
Yeah.
the resentment will not set in.
Right. Right. That's a
So
good point.
it's a
Mm.
joy. It's a joy being able to take care of your parents. And Trina, I applaud you. I
Yeah.
definitely applaud you because I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I know it's
Yeah.
hard. And thank you for popping in tonight to unwrapping the gifts of grief.
Thanks,
You
Trina.
got what else you got unique on that one about the misconceptions?
Oh, so it's kind of hard because you kind of feel alone during those seasons where everyone is happy and joyous, and you're like, I just want my mom, or I just want my
Mm-hmm.
dad, or I just want family members. And for me, ironically, literally every year for the last 5 years, someone has passed either on the ninth, like my mom, or right around the same time. So now we have my favorite
Mm.
uncle, my favorite cousin, um, and then my mom. And my uncle passed away the same day as my mom, which is also his daughter's birthday. She found him on her birthday.
Oh my.
Yeah, so this
Mm.
I can't be great for Christmas. I swear I try to get into the season and what they all want, right?
Yeah,
But that's a
sometimes you have to
journey.
press.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to press and push.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes it don't be about you. You have to do some things. Sometimes the sacrifice is about those around you.
Yeah.
But I get it. If you can't, you can't.
Yeah.
I
And you
get
know
it. If
what
you
I
can't, you
did? You know what I did when I realized there was a lot of people who weren't quite clear on how grief works. I started this journey every year, literally every year on Mother's Day and especially around Christmas. I reached out to those who I know who no longer have mothers, just randomly, just checking on you. How's everything going? Maybe Mother's Day, I'll say why, because obviously it'd be
Hmm.
Mother's Day. But Christmas time, I'll just check on them. I won't quite give them a reason why. Most of them are no, because now it's a habit. But I think that helps. It helps them and it helps me. I'm not alone. There's others grieving, and just like I feel, let me reach out to someone who may be feeling
Mm-hmm.
even worse or not. Just to say
Absolutely.
I'm thinking of you. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you just walked us right into this. So I want to ask you, how has grief affected your relationships with your family and friends? And what advice would you offer when it comes to maintaining healthy connections?
Wow, that is so intense of a question, both of them. But so the way it's affecting my we family and friends life, it has changed it, because remember, her death changed my whole outlook and view on life. I started a self-care journey, and so now uh I look to check in a lot. I'm no longer that people pleaser that was doing everything for everybody. I'm in tune with myself. I take myself out on dates,
That's
with a
good.
man or without a man.
All
I've
right.
learned how to nourish me. I've finally started getting goals accomplished. It's a whole new world for me. But in that, your selection of people who once were people you clicked with, now it's a little more caution involved in that, because toxicity is real and negative energy is real and
Yes,
positive spirits and the Lord is realer. So I kind
absolutely.
of I kind of gotten addicted to peace, and
That's
s-
good.
so I select people accordingly.
That's
I mean, I
good.
love
That's
you,
good.
but even if I have to love you from afar, I still love you from afar. All of my mom's kids have lashed out to the world. I'm not gonna lie. I preach to them as much as I can when we are talking, to say what I learn about grief, and I say it out loud for them to hear. I have a sibling who goes into denial every time around the same time. Oh, I'm okay, and then they'll lash out some kind of way. um and so I know that's grief not being addressed, right? um
Hmm.
and then I have another sibling who kind of drinks their life away to succumb to pain, and then I got that other sibling, just like you said, is mad at the world, that just mad at the world, the family, everybody in it, because mom is gone. And I keep saying, mom's not here no more, I love you to death, but that's got to be the reality we accept.
Absolutely.
But the advice I would give for anybody, especially those who have lost, especially their matriarch, whether it be grandmother, mom, or both, or dad, whoever serves that purpose in your life, you do have to purposefully grieve. You do, my God, you do,
You
and
definitely
whatever
have.
way that means, that will bring about joy to your heart when you think of the person that's no longer there, right? Or the whatever it could be. I know a lot of people been losing their pets recently. That's a family member,
Yeah.
literally.
Pets are
Um,
family members.
yeah. So purposefully grieve. I think in our culture, we think that is something totally negative, and we think the word grief means crying all along the side of um, the road about to kill yourself. No, it does not mean that at all. It means purposefully accepting the fact that that person isn't there, and still honoring them in what way, whatever way, form, or fashion you can. Um, and going at it head on, not running from it. I've run from it several times. It does not work. It does not work. It will
No,
catch
it
up with
doesn't.
you one way or the other. So yeah,
It doesn't. And people are so in our community, people are so afraid to have the discussion.
they
They're
are.
afraid to talk about it. Like why? And I see this all the time on my social media feed. You're complaining about grief all day. And
Mhm.
oh, I miss my mom. Oh, I miss my dad. Oh, I miss my brother.
Mhm. Mhm.
But you won't get any help.
Yep.
You won't
Exactly.
begin to start the process so
Yes,
that you
please.
won't be in that place the whole time.
Yep.
Now, there is information out here for you. There
Yep.
are people that went to school, got educated to be of assistance to help you through the process.
Yes.
It's here, but help is here only if you want it. And for
Hmm.
some reason, we don't want it. We just continue to want to throw ourselves these pity parties.
Yep.
And it's okay. It's okay to grieve, and it's
Yep.
okay to grow through the process because that's what
Mhm.
you're growing through the process. Grief doesn't leave.
Right.
Those
Right.
sad days doesn't leave. You
No.
just learn how to manage to cope with it.
Yep.
Why won't you learn the tools?
Yep.
Get help. So I definitely
Do you know
understand what
in
you just
some
said.
cultures they have, I don't know if you've heard of it, they have a whole retreat for people grieving. They have a maze that you can go to and walk through this maze, and it's like a process you do when you're thinking of your love. Girl, I'm like, why come a lot of us don't know about it? And that's because a lot of us isn't even accepting that we need to grieve
Then we need to grieve.
or
And I don't
understand it.
think so. Here's the thing. I don't think we started really talking about in our community. I don't
Right.
really think we started talking about grief until the pandemic because we were losing so
Yeah.
many people at a fast rate.
Right. And we had no
So
choice
now
but to talk about it. Yeah.
you don't have a choice but to talk about it.
Yeah.
But before then, it was like, oh, we was losing a family member once every 2, 3, 4 years. But
Yeah.
people was losing family members days
And
after each other.
and bulks. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it made you talk about it. It made grief a reality. And
It
not only
did.
that, let me tell you what the pandemic did for African American people. The pandemic forced some of us to go lay on the couch.
Yes. We talking about the same couch, right?
Yes,
Yes, that one.
the
Yes.
pandemic forced us to go
Yep.
seek a therapist
Yep.
because you did
Absolutely.
not realize how depressed, how
Mhm.
broken, how full of anxiety, how
Yep.
many family issues
Katrina.
you were dealing with until you were stuck in that house with
Yep.
yourself or with somebody else.
Absolutely.
And you had to go deal with your own mess.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
yes, the pandemic definitely did that for us. And I appreciate the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, me
Did we
too.
lose? Yes, we lost, but there was a lesson in it.
Yep.
There was a lesson. And it also taught us to be prepared. Now, if you didn't get the memo on how to be prepared because something is coming, nobody thought the world was going to shut down.
Right, at all.
Baby, you better have some water, some tissue, something in your garage, in your pantry.
They was
Be
burning off
prepared.
the shelves
Child,
last minute.
those were lessons that were learned during the pandemic.
Yes, it was.
Definitely. And I
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on. We're talking about we was talking about the pandemic, but now we're gonna shift. We were talking about relationships as well and family and friends, but we're gonna shift to balancing a career with the demands of grief can also be challenging, right?
Yes.
So how do you navigate your work commitments? Because you have an extensive bio. You do a lot. You do a lot.
Yes, I do. And it's so crazy. I started back doing therapy because for one it's needed, especially like you were talking about after the pandemic. I hope everyone is doing it cuz I see it out there in those streets trying to navigate traffic. It's a lot of people undiagnosed and really need therapy. So, um I'm going back to therapy and I'm learning to check in with myself because another thing about African Americans, especially women, we have the bad tendency, even though this word is not bad, but you'll hear what I mean when I say of the word resilience, right? We have that bounce back feature very
Mhm.
easy,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
The danger in the bounce back, if you bounce back in all the time, you haven't checked in with yourself. You haven't seen how do I really feel right now? Right. And I have a bad habit of that. I can jump to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And I'm actually learning how to do things so quick or short notice. But that part with not checking in, especially when you're in a grief state, can get very dangerous. You're on the brink, you can get on the brink of depression if you're not careful and just
That's true.
existing and moving but not really checking in, right? So seeing a therapist again, I'm praying extra. I pray extra around these seasons, especially because I struggle a little bit with seasonal depression when it gets dark outside. The struggle is real. So in all ways, this is just a time of the season. I'm going extra in with God. I fast every Monday. Anyway, so I kind of throw everything I got at just making sure I'm taken care of. I take vitamin D oral, so it's going straight to the bloodstream. I have light therapy. I think of my mom. I go to the cemetery. I just make sure I have time to grieve throughout the busy schedule, even if that
Hmm.
means sit down for 5 minutes and talk out what you're feeling, have a quick conversation. And I call my mom Lynn. Man, Lynn, I ain't know it's gonna be like this. Man, I hope you're proud of me. Just these random conversations that'll make me trigger a response to kind of check in with me and how I feel and thinking of my mom out loud, basically. And yeah, because it does get busy. It does get
Absolutely.
busy, and I had to check in and say, "Are you not purposefully being busy to avoid thoughts, are you?" I
Hmm.
have to That's what I mean by checking in every way. How do you feel right now? What are you thinking about right now? Um,
Absolutely.
are you busy to remove pain, or are you just busy? So that helped a lot, just checking in a lot. I've been telling everyone around me too, because I'm seeing people who have not properly grieved affect their life every single day. And I'd be
Like the
like,
post said, I didn't grieve, I just kept going. I
yeah,
saw that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was me. During the time when my mom passed, here's a crazy, crazy story. When she passed, as the third child who you find out at the last minute is actually on the policy as a policy holder, right? You kind of stuck in admin role. You're getting everything ready for the funeral. You're getting all the clothing items, the nooks and crannies, and you're talking to the siblings and you're grounding everybody up. So you're doing the admin work so much. I literally did not get a chance to really sit down and process everything until after she was buried. And I still didn't know that. And I didn't know that because I wasn't present, if that makes sense.
That
And
makes a
then
lot of sense.
not being present, I sat down. I remember sitting down on the couch. I looked around both ways and I said, because she had a glass table, and one of my glass tables had gotten broken. I was telling her when she was alive, I was like, I got to get your glass table because I need your glass table. And I remember looking back and I had her glass table and I was like, I didn't want it like this. And I actually do not remember from that day I said that moving from the couch at all. And that was days. And then I looked up, I said, I probably should go to grief counseling because it's a lot. I
It is
think
a lot.
I'm having a situation right now where I need to really check in because I did not. I can't even tell you how I ate. I think I was
Mm.
just there for my kids, literally. I think that was the only purpose of me feeling like I had something to do from that point because I was literally stuck, like just stuck.
I can. After her death, was a little different, but during the 6 months that she
Mhm.
had left,
Mhm.
I began my process then. So I was
Mhm.
processing grief um, while she was still sick.
Okay.
Um, the funeral was like I remember the funeral because I remember me having to be the the strong one, the responsible one. I
Yep.
after handling all the business. But now
Yeah.
later, after I had moved from out west to out south, probably 4 or 5 months after she passed, and
Oh.
moving here and not being able to show her what I've done set me back.
Wow.
And
Yes.
it would be days. I mean, I would go to work,
Yes.
I would come home, but that would be pretty much my life. Like, you don't really know what the days is. You just going, you just existing. You
Right.
stop living. You just do what's necessary to get to the next day.
Right.
So I
Absolutely.
understand that. I definitely understand that. But processing grief, it definitely it helped me to process it beforehand. And I
Hmm.
think that's why I didn't have such a crash during the time that she had died. And I was
Yeah.
able to stand firm and take care of all the business. She had that wrote everything down. So I knew what to do.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, we had, let me tell you something. My mama had conversations with me and let me know what I was supposed to do, when I was supposed to do, down to the color of her casket, what she wanted to
Really?
wear. Absolutely. What she was gonna wear to the funeral. But
What?
that's the only thing that I did not do was put her in the outfit she wanted to be buried in because my mama had so much stuff. When I went to go get her outfit out her room, she had the big store racks in her one room.
Wow.
Girl, I had a headache when I went. I said, "Let me tell you something, girl. You ain't finna be in that gold outfit now. I'm finna run out here on 63rd and Cottage or whatever and get you a new one because I ain't finna be piling through these clothes looking for. You ain't even leave it out for me. But you laid out this ugly green suit that you was gonna wear to your next doctor's appointment, but you
Oh
ain't laid this gold outfit out."
no.
That's the
Wow.
only thing that I did not follow was the outfit, but everything else I
Wow.
followed it to a T.
That's
So it's
amazing that you
also
had
good
that.
to have those conversations
Yes.
with your parents because
Yes.
their wishes are their wishes, and I do think that we should honor their wishes.
Yes.
I
Absolutely.
do think that.
Yeah, I had a
I do
talk
think.
with my mom. This how I think this is how she set me up because I used to sell insurance. And I asked her one day, unbeknownst to me, that anything in the future was going to happen where she was sick. I was saying, asking her about her policy, and I was saying, what did I say? We always joked a lot. So I said, you got some money for us set aside? So she said, no, y'all grown. I said,
Mm,
really?
mm,
I said,
mm.
you know, you got your spoiled brat baby over there. You know, if something happened to you, you better have. I said, Lynn, even if you got to write it down on a piece of paper, do something, right? So she started then at that point kind of listing off what she wants. She always kind of did it periodically anyway. If
Mhm,
I died, this, and that. So she would randomly say these things. But what I didn't know, what my aunties kind of reminded me when we started doing the funeral package, I had never done a funeral before, so I wanted my uncle kind of who did several funerals to take the lead, and he decides to see that there's another beneficiary on her policy, and oh, let me have that beneficiary do everything. And I'm like, no, I need you to do this part. But anyways, they basically led me to make sure that all the siblings had something left, and I was like, this little money, this ain't even enough to this ain't even enough to get her a package. They was like, you got to get a deal. So they had to break that all down to me. Cause I was like, I don't know how she expect me to, but she did. I did do because all the aunts were saying the same thing. I did do what she would have wanted. She knew I wouldn't have cheated anyone out of anything. She knew that I would have made sure everything got done right.
okay,
She
okay,
knew.
okay.
And that's what they had to tell me because I was like, boy, her kid's gonna be mad at me. He gonna be mad at me for no reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
Wow. Wow. Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. We're coming down to 50 minutes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of combine some of these questions.
Okay.
I am enjoying you though, baby.
I know, right? This is
I didn't
refreshing
know the
for real.
time was gonna be going this fast tonight.
Me
That must
neither.
mean we having fun.
I know.
Uh, so I'm gonna ask you this because I know this. Yeah, I know this one. How has grief affected your faith and
I knew you was
spirituality?
gonna say that. I knew you was gonna say that. Actually, for me, it's nourished it more so, right?
Mm,
We take one of God's natural processes, death, and we learn to embrace it. We learn God is really sovereign, right? There's nothing you can do, say, think, or anything. I learned that the hard way through grief counseling that no matter what I do, I can't control
mm,
someone dying, right? I'll give you an example because I am the fighter of the family. I was like the protest power to the people one, right?
mhm,
I was ready to protest anything, dispute anything, or what have you. So, right after my mom passed, it was my father-in-law, but I was divorced, if that makes sense. I still call them like my father-in-law, right? Um, something happened with him where he had what do you call the leukemia? He had leukemia, but it never showed any signs. And one day he passed out on the floor, right? He passed out on the floor and they take him to the hospital. It goes from a faint, a pass out to uh no brain activity to some movement to they may have to pull the plug. You tell someone like me that, and I'm like, no, what else can be done? I'm fighting hard. And I remember being in grief counseling still because it was around the time my mom passed. And she gave me the harsh reality that, Unique, you can't change someone's fate. Um, It's just something you'll have to let go. Cause I was like, well, wait a minute, they shouldn't just pull the plug yet. I thought they had some movement and I thought they had some this, and that's me. I'm the fighter of the family. Like, no, I thought but what about if we just wait and very persistent. And the grief counselor, who was a spiritual woman, was like, you can't control that no more than you can control your mom leaving this earth. And it was a harsh reality.
mm.
I know I can't control anything, but man, you mean to tell me literally we just got to take this? So I have my little funny
Absolutely.
innuendos with God, and I have these real conversations like, dang, God, for real, like, this it. Yeah, you're not sovereign. I mean, right, you're not sovereign, I am. I'm like, dang, really? Just like that. And I came to that reality. God is in control at the end of the day. We're mere humans, God loves us. He shows us favor, but at the end of the day, we're not in control. And something
Absolutely.
kept happening when my dad passed. I kept hearing the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases, his mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning.
Mm,
Girl, I don't know why that scripture had just came out of the whole scripture came out of nowhere. That's a song too. So I was like, that's crazy. His mercies never come to an end. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. I'm like, man. So for me, it's thickened my relationship with God further. It makes me closer. It made me closer with God, learning and understanding the the phases of grief. Because there's a couple of phases, there's the shock value when it first happens.
yes.
Because for us, it was it was a shock value. We was getting ready to put her in hospice, and I know someone that hospice can be a year, it could be days, you just don't know. And
I
then
don't know.
we got in a
Hmm.
circle and prayed, and Lynn left us like, I ain't going to no hospice. I was like, okay, girlfriend, you going then. She then went and
Wow.
and left us. But I know when she left, there's the shock value, and then there's the administrative side. You got to get everything together, and there's the if there's not any process going on then and there, it can trickle in after everything's done, and you got to take care of their items and stuff. There's a little moment you have there, you still smell their scent on their clothes and everything, and then if you inherit anything, like I have, oh, I should have brought it out. I have it's not real, but it's like a reversible coat that has fur on the outside and the inside has leather. And I just chuckle every time I think of this big coat. My mom was this little woman. And every time
Mm,
I grab it, like, what was you doing with this coat? It was swallowing you, mom. Like, what? I guess it was meant for me. These little moments I have. But then there's the phases you deal with yearly, and whatever spurts they come. And there's
the
also the
anniversary phases,
dream.
yes,
Yeah, there's also the dream.
absolutely.
I had a dream of my father, I had a dream of my mom after they passed, and it was healing to me. It was healing, but yeah,
That's good.
it helped a
That's
lot.
grief and faith for me. Before my mom got really sick, I was in a place of I was over church.
Mm,
Um, Although I was doing church administration work, I was just showing up.
okay.
I would
Was she
show up.
sick during this time?
Yes,
Okay, yep.
because
Yep.
I had went through my own health thing. So,
Yeah.
but I was over our type of church, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like I was tired
Yes.
of
I'm doing
swinging
a
church.
whole
I'm
book on the
tired of
church.
going
Yes.
to church
Yes.
every Sunday and leaving
Yeah.
worse than when I walked in the door. So
Yeah.
I was over church. I would go to church because I love to sing. I would go to church, get in the praise team, sing the choir, go home, yada yada yada, go back to doing what I was doing.
Right.
But I do believe grief um has brought my faith back to the forefront because it
Yeah.
made me have to trust God.
Yep.
It made me have to believe in God. It made
Yes.
me have to lean on God. Because again, as I was saying, I have three siblings.
Yep.
I didn't have anybody to lean on other than my friends who have become my family.
Yeah.
So I didn't, it was me and God. And when my mom said to me, baby, we're gonna let God be God. And I told her,
Love
well, if
it.
you rocking, I'm rolling.
Oh, that part.
And she had to, her faith was so big. Her
Yeah.
faith was large. I didn't
Yeah.
have a choice but to tap into that.
Yes. Yes.
So grief and faith, they go
Yeah.
hand in hand for me.
They
It
do. They
showed me. It
do.
showed me something totally different. It showed me that God is my father.
Yeah.
God is my keeper. God is
Yeah.
my peace. God is my source.
Yep.
It showed me all the things that God is to me.
Absolutely.
So I definitely I hear what you're saying on that, and I appreciate
Yeah.
you. Um I'm gonna ask you this.
Mhm.
What inspires hope for you
What inspires hope for me? In terms of grief or just in
in
general?
terms of grief?
Oh, living out the legacy that the person lost would want, basically. I had to literally again check in and say, is this journey I'm on, would that be something Lynn would be proud of? I know that may sound like a stupid question, but I sometimes do that to say, man, if she was alive today, would she be happy? And I'm like, she would be more than happy. So that gives me a boost of motivation, hope, everything. So that even if I'm at a point where I'm just like, I'm tired, I don't feel like doing this today, that today, I'm gonna take off a week. I'll think that through and it'll amp me up all over again. And you can't, you got stuff to do. You got many people watching you. You got your mom watching you, and she would be so happy. So it was always like that when she was alive and even more so when she passed. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And the last question for you tonight.
Oh. I want to stay. Nah.
I'm not, you know what? I'm not going to do what I did to Jason last week because I
Uh-uh.
asked Jason a question last week. I
Oh.
asked Jason that if he could say anything to his loved one.
Uh-huh.
He had 1 minute to say anything to his loved one. What would it be? Jason said whatever he needed to say to his loved one. But after the fact, Jason ended up calling me back that night and was like, I did not know that I was dealing with the emotions that I was dealing with until I began talking.
Wow.
So I'm not going to do that to you. And then so I answered the question myself.
Uh-huh.
And I answered by responding saying that I would tell my mother one thing and I would tell my grandmother one thing. Now,
Mhm.
here's where it gets interesting.
Mhm.
When I got off the podcast, I used my phone for podcast last week. When I
Okay.
got off the phone for podcast and I went downstairs, I ate dinner, I took a bath, came upstairs, because last week was very heavy for me. My head
Okay.
was hurting. So I wanted to go to bed early.
Okay.
But I got on Snapchat. But I
Mhm.
was like, okay, before I start putting some pictures on Snapchat, I need to delete some pictures off of my phone.
Mhm.
Well, I go on my phone. There have been pictures that was taken during the last few minutes of the podcast on my phone,
Really?
looking like I'm going to share them on social media this week sometime when I get the chance to just
Oh,
buckle
please
down and deal
do.
with it. But it's like people, it's blur,
Uh-huh.
like people coming into the frame, like 10, 11 pictures, people coming into the frame, every picture. And
Really?
then the last picture is a short figure and a tall figure. Now, my grandmother was short and my mother was tall. That was like the last picture that was taken. But mind you, I was on the podcast.
What?
Amazing experience. I was like, well, maybe they did hear me when I
Yes.
said what I said, and they were just coming in,
Oh
or God
my
sent a
God.
message to say, hey, they heard
Yeah.
you, they appreciate
Yeah.
you, they were listening, they got
Oh
it.
my
So I'm not gonna do that
God.
to you this weekend at all
Ah!
unless you calling me talking about, girl, let me tell you what happened.
I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I don't mind at
Mm,
all. It'll
I
be
don't want you
funny, cute,
doing
and
that.
scary for me at the same time.
Girl, I'm talking about wreck my brain. Like I keep looking at the pictures every day.
Oh
But I
wow.
I will ask you this. If
Mhm.
you could offer one piece of advice or words of comfort to someone who was currently grieving,
Oh.
what would that advice be?
Oh my God. I already the person popped in my head. Her mom just passed. Purposefully grieve when you're feeling that feeling of sadness, pain, hurt, every emotion that come, allow it to come through. Give yourself the space and the time to let it come through. Sometimes if you go in too deep, you may have to set a timer to allow yourself to come out of it, but purposefully think of your mom and grieve, set up a memorial, whatever, to help you honor that person, party, whatever, whatever. I'm going to a memorial this weekend, actually. So my heart goes out to my friend Raven, and then Sonia. She lost
Yes,
her
yes.
son. Yeah, Sonia lost her
Praying for
son.
both of them.
Yes. So yeah, take time to think it through. Please don't walk around calloused, meaning you can see a person who is avoiding it. You can tell, like they're
It's so
stoic.
true.
They look like emotionless. That is not good. So and call me. I literally listen to people just vent on the phone. I don't have no unless they want me to talk. I just people need people to listen and
People
not
need an
talk
ear
so
without
much.
a response.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's what I would give
Absolutely.
now.
Okay. I appreciate you.
This is
Unique
wonderful.
Washington, you all. She has been an amazing guest tonight on this Wednesday on Unwrapping the Gift of Grief. I would like
Yeah.
to thank you so much for your willingness to share your personal journey
Thank
with grief.
you.
And
You
we
as
value
well.
your openness and honesty. We're
Yeah.
getting ready to close out this episode. And I just want to say to our listeners, please remember that everyone's experience of grief is unique.
Yes.
There's no right or wrong way to grieve.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly okay to reach out for support if you need it. You are not on this path alone. We are your community.
Yeah.
Unwrapping the gift of grief is your community. If you need help, there are tools, there are places for you to go to seek help. But tonight, I'm also going to leave you with some tips for navigating grief. Number one, seek support, as I just mentioned. Reach out to your friends, your family, or professional who can give
Yeah.
you a listening ear. Mind you, like we just said, a listening ear to
Yeah.
hear, not to
Yeah.
respond,
Yeah.
because you need that. Practice self compassion. Please be kind to yourself.
Yep.
Grieving is a process and it requires time and understanding. Do not rush your process. Honor your memories. Do not try to push your loved ones out. And on this show, we speak of grief as a plethora of things. It could be your job, your
Mhm.
relationship, a divorce, a pet, or whatever.
Mhm.
Whatever you're grieving, be kind to yourself in those moments and honor those memories of whatever relationship that you had. Explore creative outlets. Please do something. I
Yeah.
don't care if it's journaling, I don't care if it's grief art, I don't care if it's reading a book or finding your favorite show. Do something. Do something. Prioritize self care. Make self care a priority. Always nurture your emotional and physical well being. If you need to seek therapy, seek therapy.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to judge you.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with therapy. Go get some. Go lay on the couch. Um, last but not least, hold on to hope. Remember that from the depth of grief, healing and growth can emerge. I always say this to people: in order to heal, you must first grieve.
Yep.
You cannot bypass any steps to get to healing until you do that thing, which is called grieve. Go through the
Yep.
process so you can grow through the process.
Yep.
And if there was no love, there will be no grief. If there was no grief, there will be no love. Consider yourself blessed. And thank you for tuning in to Unwrapping the Gift of Grief, episode 9. We hope this
No.
episode has offered some type of healing and insight and solidarity to you. So please join us next week, Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. We'll be here and we're going to continue to unwrap the gift of grief together. Have a good night.
Have a good one, everybody.